I want to quickly talk to you about how to get a large EIN only business loan with poor or fair credit, guaranteed approval. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you're all doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to quickly just touch on a very important element. How do you actually get a large EIN only business loan if you have poor or fair credit and you want the loan to be guaranteed approval? This is an important element, right? So let me first break it down. If you have poor or fair personal credit, you want to address it right now. You want to go to a website called annualcreditreport.com and you want to see if there are some derogatory items on your report. If there are some inaccuracies, you want to fix it right now. You can do it yourself or you can hire a company such as Credit Saint or Lexington Law. We have covered the credit repair companies on another show, so you can hire someone to take care of it for you. So it is important. The whole idea of an EIN only business loan means that your personal credit is not really taken into account. However, there is a small part of lenders, business lenders, who still care about personal credit, even if they are underwriting, even if they are reviewing an EIN only business loan application. So either way, you want to make sure you have an accurate personal credit. It doesn't matter whether you have poor or fair personal credit. At least you know it's accurate, right? Because the last thing you want is you don't want a decision to be made on your business loan based on a faulty data that is contained in your personal credit score. And then we have the business credit. You also have poor or fair business credit. So business credit actually, the scores actually range from 0 to 100, with 100 being perfect and 90 being excellent and 80 being good. So anything below a 60 is considered poor or fair. So you might want to actually also pay attention to that and see, at least have an idea of your business credit score. What am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say that before you apply to get a large EIN only business loan with poor or fair credit, you need to understand where you are currently in terms of your personal credit and business credit. Because if you don't, the lender is going to pay attention to that anyway. You also need to understand that when you see the Social Security number information on business credit card or business loan application forms, that SSN, that Social Security number spot, that section is there for identification purposes. A lot of people get it wrong. They believe that the lender put it there because they want to check your personal credit. No, they need to identify who you are, and this is just part of the anti-AML, the anti-money laundering, and KYC, know your customer laws. Okay, now let's get into the actual step-by-step. If you want to get a large EIN only business loan with poor or fair credit, guaranteed approval, I gave you the analytical foundation of today's conversation. Now let's get into the actual step-by-step. Step number one, you need to know what is EIN only business funding. When we speak about EIN only business loans or EIN only business credit cards, whether it is for a poor or fair credit or low credit or no credit, lenders have a few criteria. First, they want to see that the business is making money. The business is not shaky from a financial perspective. In other words, we've seen estimates, minimum estimates from $250,000 to $1 million minimum in terms of revenue. So $250,000 to $1 million in terms of revenue. That will actually make the lender comfortable that the business is not shaky. They also want to see a complete segregation, a complete distinction of business affairs from personal affairs. They also want to see what we have dubbed in our research the golden trifecta. So they want to see solid financial projections based on a viable business model featuring products with an amazing proof of concept. So, Trifecta has three elements: financial projections, a viable business model that features products with an amazing proof of concept. If you have that, you should be fine to go. And most small businesses don't get EIN only funding because they don't understand the trifecta that I just spoke to you about. At the end of the day, it's not necessary to have sales or strong revenue. It's more important to know how to present a solid proposition to the lender, a solid loan application to the lender. Step number one, you need to know what is EIN only business funding. Number two, you need to get your act together. You need to get your EIN, get your legal structure ready, right? You want to have a company, a proper company, not a sole proprietorship. You need to have a company. I don't care if you work from home, if you work from your basement, doesn't matter. But from a legal standpoint, you want to have an LLC or LP or S Corp or C Corp, doesn't matter. Even if you are one person, you have one person, a single member LLC that exists. So you need to have an EIN, legal structure. You need to get permits and licenses. Very important. You want to pay employer taxes. If you work by yourself for now, if you're self-employed, you need to pay a self-employment tax, and you need to get branded. So everything from flyer, brochure, website, logo, promotional material, all these things are important because they convey to the lender that your business is legit. Number three, folks, you need to know how EIN only business lenders think. Very important to understand that because you cannot be approved for a large EIN only business loan with poor or fair credit guaranteed approval if you don't understand how the lenders think. The lenders pay attention to 6 important elements, and we have covered this on other shows. So here, I'm not going to go into too much details. So first, they want to pay attention to your credit, whether the business has excellent credit, excellent business credit. They pay attention by credit. I'm talking about everything from your business loans, your business credit cards, how you handle transactions with your vendors, whether you have existing trade lines, that kind of stuff, whether you have other types of loans, asset-based loans, merchant cash advances, equipment financing arrangements, invoice factoring, invoice financing, and so on and so forth. Lenders also pay attention to your cash flow and income. So they look at your company's cash flow statement and income statement. They also look at the age of the business, whether the business is new, is a startup, or a very young business, or an established business. Obviously, the longer a company is established, the lower the risk, right? And vice versa. They also pay attention to the current amount of debt that you currently have. So if you're trying to get an EIN only business loan, a large EIN only business loan with poor or fair credit, the lender will want to pay attention to the current debt load, how much you currently owe, because that will help them actually calculate the debt to income ratio, the DTI ratio. They also pay attention to the collateral that you might want to pledge, either at the personal level or at the business level, and also what kind of industry you're in. For them, it's very important to know because some industries are deemed riskier than others, and the risk is not just based on the economy. The risk can also be based on regulations, right? Some industries are what I would call the heavily regulated, and they are prone to crisis or prone to issues, quote unquote. Here, I can give you a very simple example. If a lender has to advance cash to you and you are in the liquor industry, you sell alcoholic beverages, there's nothing wrong with that, don't get me wrong, but it's an industry that is heavily regulated, and then they might think twice. Same thing if you're selling guns, for example. Okay. Step number 4, folks, you want to structure your business operation. This is so important. I think I've said it before. If you want to improve your odds of getting approved for a large EIN only business loan with poor or fair credit, you need to structure your operation, your business operation properly. What do I mean by that? That there are a lot of things you can do here, but the bottom line here is that you want to convey the image that your business is run operationally, legally, structurally, financially, as a separate entity from your personal affairs. And again, it doesn't matter whether you are conducting business from your home or from an office. Okay. And other things you can do is you want to open business bank accounts. You want to open business credit cards so that the lender can see that you have established a little bit of credit worthiness at the business level before you want to apply for a large EIN only business loans. By the way, when I'm speaking about a large EIN only business loan, I'm speaking about something that goes in 7 digits, 1 million or more, right? 5 million, 10 million, that kind of stuff. That's the magnitude I'm thinking about. And you also want to establish vendor trade lines. So you want to establish trade lines with some vendors, and establishing trade lines is not as complicated as people have said in the past. As a matter of fact, we are preparing very soon. We'll be having a whole series on vendor trade lines, how to qualify for them, how to find them, how to easily apply for them. And you also want to pay attention to, if you want to structure your business operation properly, you want to have HR policies and guidelines in place, as well as legal documents and contracts with key vendors and customers. You also want to have everything that relates to workplace safety. That's of course if you have employees, right? If your employees are working at a normal office, because some people have the setup whereby they're working from home and their employees are also working from home, so they are not renting any physical place, any physical office. So, but it all depends on your situation and on your business. The bottom line here, folks, is that you want, again, to have everything legit so that the lender, by looking at your books, by looking at your procedures, your internal procedures and processes, can say, okay, this company is legit, and we're going to run this review, this loan application review. We're going to run it at the business level and not at the personal level. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. I'm still talking to you about how to get a large EIN only business loan with poor or fair credit, guaranteed approval. Step number 1, you need to know what is EIN only business financing. Number 2, you need to get your act together. Number 3, you need to know how EIN only business lenders think. Number 4, you want to structure your business operation. Number 5, you want to gather your paperwork. By gathering your paperwork, there are 4 or 5 pieces of paperwork you need to gather. So you need to have a business plan, the loan application, the financial projections. They are part of the business plan, but you can actually have a separate folder for them. And you can also, and this is optional, but you can create a pitch. You can draft a pitch, which is basically a summarized version of a business plan. In other words, in the pitch, you would take the synopsis of the business plan. You want to focus on important elements, what you want a lender or investor, for that matter, to remember. Okay, so business plan, we have covered the topic of business planning on other shows, but a business plan is very important. It is the cornerstone of a solid business loan application. A lot of folks believe that, a lot of borrowers, business borrowers that is, believe that you only need a business plan when you are pitching to an investor. No, my friend, no. Because the business plan is also important whether you're talking about an equity transaction or a debt transaction. So it works both ways, and anything in between, like hybrid loan, equity transactions, anything. A business plan actually showcases your company's ability to be viable. Remember earlier I was talking to you about solid financial projections based on a viable business model featuring products with an amazing proof of concept, the golden trifecta, right? This golden trifecta, you have to showcase it, you have to prove it, you have to provide evidentiary data about that in the business plan. And the paperwork also encompasses the loan application itself. I'm showing you right now on the screen, we have a simple business loan application from a credit union, but it's pretty much the same. Whether you apply for a loan from an alternative lender or a bank or a credit union, is the same thing. So you can see here on the first snapshot, this is from Consumers Credit Union, by the way, and they ask for the applicant information, right? They ask for your personal information. You can see that they also ask you for your social security number. Again, you don't, this is why I always tell people don't apply online. You want to go physically. It's where you fill in the information, and the social security number information is just, it's only for identification purposes. You have to put, if necessary, what kind of collateral you need to put. That's the second snapshot. The third snapshot, they want to have more information about the business in terms of legal structure, what type of information it is. And the fourth snapshot, they were asking for the principal place of business, and they also want you to sign and add some guarantors if necessary. Step number 6, folks. You want to really know the different types of EIN only business loans. When we're talking about large EIN only business loans for poor credit or fair credit guaranteed approval, you have a large constellation of loans. First, you have EIN only business lines of credit. You also have SBA loans. In SBA loans, you have SBA 7A loan, SBA 504 loan, SBA Express loans. Okay, and those loans are, as the name implies, backed by the Small Business Administration, and this is this is a federal agency, so this is like the government of the United States. With an SBA loan, you can expect amounts from $50,000 all the way to $5 million, and typically terms range from 10 to 25 years. Okay, and one downside that you need to remember here is that SBA loans are famous for being notoriously slow and paperwork intensive. And we also have a short-term loans, EIN only short-term loans, EIN only business term loans, EIN only merchant cash advances, EIN only business credit cards that we have covered on other shows, EIN only equipment financing arrangements. We have EIN only commercial mortgages. We have accounts receivable financing arrangements. We have EIN only startup loans. So this is kind of important to know. And you also have EIN only business acquisition loans. All right. So this is kind of important. You also need to understand that lenders will evaluate your application based on your business debt coverage, your business debt utilization. This is correlated with the DTI, your debt to income ratio. You also have they also pay attention to the business revenue trend. This is very important also. Now, if you don't do a good job at segregating your personal affairs from your business affairs, what will happen is that the lender will also pay attention to your personal credit, to your personal debt coverage, to your personal debt utilization. And you don't want that. You really don't want that. Step number 7, folks. So after you do this, you need to actually pick your preferred lender. So when we speak about getting a large EIN only business loan with a poor or fair credit guaranteed approval, we are actually talking about 5 players. There are 5 types of lenders who can provide that kind of loan. And you have banks, you have credit unions, you have online lenders, you have alternative lenders, and you have nonprofits. Yes, there are nonprofits such as Acción and Kiva that provide EIN only business loans with poor or fair credit. You also have the bank, credit union, online lenders, and alternative lenders. Now, you really you need, and this is the next step here. Step number 8, to choose one preferred lender, you need to shop around. And I'm going to show you how to actually evaluate EIN only business loans for poor or fair credit. There are a couple of things you need to pay attention to. You want to pay attention to the interest. This is important. We know the interest and also the APR, and we know that generally interest and APRs are cheaper at credit unions and nonprofit lenders than at traditional banks or alternative lenders. You also have the default interest rate. So, if God forbid you miss a payment, if you miss a loan payment, then the lender might be legally in his or her right to bump up the interest rate and charge you like crazy. Some business loans also require a personal guarantee. So when we're talking about EIN only business loans, you have to double check with the lender to make sure that there is not a personal guarantee clause within the agreement that says, well, at the beginning, we're not requesting any personal guarantee from you because this is an EIN only business loan. But if something happens in the event you do this, you did this, you did this, you did that, we would be in our position, we would be in our legal right to ask for a personal guarantee. So the point I'm trying to make here is you want to actually make sure there is no clause that you don't understand in the loan, or that a clause that could be detrimental to your business interest in the future. You also want to pay attention to the repayment terms, right? Very important. So speaking about shopping around, I'm going to show you very quickly a few EIN only business loans, just a few examples so you can see a little bit what we're talking about here. So we have loans from credit unions. So for example, we have the Boeing Employees Credit Union, and we have scored their loans, their business loans, 10 over 10. Great. The loan amounts oscillate between $5,000 and $250,000. APR up to 9.5%, and FICO, minimum FICO 575, and the minimum time in business 6 months. And then you have Alliance Credit Union, and our score A is 9.5 over 10. Loan amount $5,000 to $500,000. APR up to 7.5%. Minimum FICO 550. Okay, and the minimum time in business 3 months. Then we have the American Heritage Credit Union, and then our score is a 9.5 over 10, and the loan amount $5,000 to $100,000, APR up to 6.25, and FICO minimum 550, and minimum time in business 1 month. So all these 3 credit unions, you can apply. They're open. You can apply for membership very easily. You don't have to have any kind of social, professional, or location related affiliation. No. Sometimes you just have to make a small donation of $5, for example, to become a member. And then once you are a member, you can actually apply for a business loan, for an EIN only business loan. I also want to talk to you about alternative lender EIN only business loans. And so we have Cash Bloom. We scored this player 10 over 10. We have a Balboa Capital. That's 9.5 over 10. And we have Fundwise. We have scored this player at 8.5 over 10. I just want to say that those alternative lenders they usually offer merchant cash advance. They offer working capital loans. They also offer equipment financing, among others. But again, this list is not exhaustive. This is more for information only. Step number 9, folks. Now you need to know EIN only business loan requirements. And this is important because for you to apply successfully, for you to have all the answers that the business loan officer might be asking you, it's important to do some homework. And the way you do the homework is by knowing the requirements beforehand. And most EIN only business loans with poor or fair credit, guaranteed approval, they will, and by the way, it's the same requirements for EIN only business credit cards also. So they want you to provide information about your time in business. So in other words, your operational history, your operational seniority in terms of your business. You have your personal credit score, the business credit score, the annual business revenue and profit. They want you to talk about bank statements, very important for them. Your business tax returns, your 1065 or 1120, S or C. Your personal tax returns, your 1040 and Schedule C. The purpose of the loan, whether it is for expansion purpose or hiring for working capital or hiring additional staff, whatever it is, you need to actually explain it. The industry you're in, the entity type, business licenses and permits, very important. They want to know that also. And your EIN, proof of collateral, if applicable to you, the balance sheet, a copy of a commercial or your commercial lease, And they want you to disclose other debt that you may have on the books, ownership and affiliations, legal contracts and agreements, and accounts receivable and accounts payable agent. One thing that I want to say here, folks, and this is very critical, and this is just basic business etiquette. Please be truthful on your loan application. Be truthful. And step number 10, you want to close the deal. And closing the deal means that you want to call the lender and get all the relevant information. I've always said, if you want to get a large EIN only business loan with poor or fair credit, guaranteed approval, go to the branch. You want to first start with, you want to do your online research. Then you want to call the company. And then if you are targeting a bank or a credit union, then you want to go to the nearest branch. You want to sit down. You want to have a conversation. You want to provide all documentations to the team. You want to ask all the questions about the loan before submitting the application. And you want to confirm with them that they will not do a hard pull. Okay? If you're not sure about that, if you're not comfortable with the whole conversation, you can lock your credit. You can freeze your credit so that if they attempt to get it, you will get a notification. It's also important to provide all documentations that you need. Documentation is very important. Now, if you don't have a bank or a credit union and you want to apply through a regular and alternative lender, still call them up. They may not have a physical brick and mortar branch near where you live, but you can still talk to them over the phone. All right, folks. This is it for today's conversation. I just want to thank you for your attention. I really appreciate it. I will see you another time. But until then, let's first do the recap. I shouldn't go that quickly, right? I need to do the recap here first. So recap here. Number 1, know what is EIN only business financing. Number 2, get your act together. Number 3, know how EIN only business lenders think. Number 4, structure your business operation. Number 5, gather your paperwork. Number 6, know types of EIN only business loans. Number 7, you want to pick your preferred lender. Number 8, you want to shop around. Number 9, you want to know EIN only business loan requirements. And number 10, you want to close the deal. Thank you so much, folks. I will see you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.